Hey guys, welcome to Bookish Islander. My name is Juan. I hope you're all doing very well. Today I'm here to do my November TBR. November is almost upon us, and this year I'm going to take part in the nonfiction read-a-thon. So I have 5 nonfiction books that I have specially selected that I will read in November. And the first book that I want to talk to you about is The World of Yesterday by Austrian writer Stefan Zweig. I've already started this book, but I decided that it was going to take me a while. It's quite a dense, long, hugely fascinating tome. So it's probably, I'm probably gonna finish it in November. So who was Stefan Zweig? Stefan Zweig was an intellectual who belonged to the Jewish bourgeoisie in Vienna. He lived in the late 19th century and in the early 20th century. He uprooted himself from Austria. He first went to England and then he ended up in Brazil. He submitted his manuscript for this book when he was living in Brazil, and soon after sending the manuscript to his publisher, he committed suicide. And because Zweig wrote this book after the rise of Hitler, there is this ominous sense throughout the book. He describes a world that it's coming to an end, and it's ending in the worst possible way. And just in keeping with this cheerful mood, I've also decided to read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. This is a hugely famous political treatise from the 16th century, which was written by a politician and diplomat called Niccolo Machiavelli. It is also considered one of the earliest, if not the earliest example of political philosophy in the modern world. But I also wanted to read something in Spanish and something that was a little bit closer to home, so I decided to read Identidad Canaria, which is a book by the historian A. José Farrugia de la Rosa. I bought this book in Tenerife Book Fair back in May. I saw the writer. I went to a presentation of this book and he even signed it for me. This is a collection of his essays, his academic work on the identity of the indigenous peoples of the Canary Islands, not just before the European conquest. So Europeans got to the Canary Islands and conquered the Canary Islands in the late 15th century. In fact, Tenerife was conquered in 1496, which makes it 4 years after the so-called discovery of the Americas. I'm hugely invested in this book. This is part of my identity, and it's something that is not really taught in schools in any kind of depth. There's also a lot of misconceptions about the indigenous peoples, a lot of wrong terminology that is used. It's the view on them, and I would say on us, in a way. It's extremely Eurocentric. So I'm really interested on this book. Like I said, I bought it during the book fair. I've been wanting to read it since, but I couldn't find an excuse to actually read it. And then when I was thinking about my TBR for Nonfiction November, I thought, well, why not? This is the best chance I would get to read this book. And I also want to read something by Susan Sontag, because if you've watched my channel for a while, or if you've watched it recently anyway, you probably know that I think last month or a couple of months ago, I read Regarding the Pain of Others by Susan Sontag, and I loved it, and I wanted to read more by her. But again, I couldn't quite justify doing so. So I thought I would wait until November so I could read Against Interpretation and Other Essays, which is an essay collection that she published in 1966. And the final non-fiction book that I want to read in November is also a collection of essays, but a more recent one. I'm talking about Trick Mirrors by Gia Tolentino. You probably know that Gia Tolentino is an up-and-coming non-fiction writer. She writes regularly for The New Yorker. I haven't read much by her. I think I've only read a few paragraphs of some of her columns, but I'm curious to read this book because it's hugely hyped. I want to see what the fuss is about, and I also want to read something contemporary, so I thought Trick Mirror was just perfect for that. So yes, this is my Nonfiction November TBR. I don't know how I'll do with this. In a similar approach to Victober, what I mean to do is start these books in November. I don't know if I'll finish them within the month, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to do that. I just want to read those books from November onwards. If it takes me 3 months to get to all of them, if it takes me 2 months to get all of them, that's fine. And if I read them within November, then I'll be really pleased. Anyway, are you taking part in Nonfiction November? Are you going to read nonfiction books in the month of November? Do you have any suggestions? Have you read any of the books that I'm going to read and you want to share your opinions on them? Please let me know in the comment section down below. So that's all for me. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again very soon. Goodbye.